Hi, and welcome to Higher Density Living, just off of a mountain hike, Alex. What did we see on the mountain hike today?
Tarantulas.
Yes. Wasn't that awesome?
Phenomenal.
We were talking about it beforehand.
Yeah. No, what were we doing? We're like walking around talking about spiders.
Yeah, we were talking about, wouldn't it be weird? This is our conversations.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be weird if in another dimension there were spiders that actually were eating people?
Huge. And that's why we have such a wild fear of them here on Earth, even though they're so small.
Right.
But a tarantula, I mean, it was about the size of a CD.
It was fuzzy.
It was fuzzy, all
Yeah,
right.
and your doggies were loving it.
They were like, is that a chew toy? No, stay away.
Yeah, exactly. I think they only have like a bee sting, though, right?
I don't even want to test it. I don't care. I don't care if it's a beast. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, they look kind of creepy, but
Yeah.
they were cool. He was chill.
He was hanging.
kept like when they were getting their nose near him, he had his little back legs up.
They're going like this,
Yeah,
like pincing back and forth.
I'm small.
Yeah, it's going to hurt, though.
Yeah, I'm a badass,
Yeah.
and I'm known. So we are in the studios of 99.9.
The Beat
We're, like,
FM.
straight out of
straight out of Albuquerque. Compton's in the past. Straight out of Albuquerque.
Past, we are in the new and improved. Can we say we're from the hood? Or
Yeah, I guess. This is the desert hood.
Yeah, the desert hood.
I like it.
Which we have Desert Fog.
IPA
Today.
by
Yeah.
Marble.
Yeah, it's an hazy IPA. I don't know if you
hazy IPA.
that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we're still on the first one.
Yeah, we got.
So
I don't know
we're
where the rest
fine.
of them went.
So, Alex, what are we going to talk about today on the podcast?
I want to talk about an inclusive against an exclusive society. What does that mean? What the heck? What does exclusive society mean? What does an inclusive society
don't tune
mean?
out. This is really interesting.
Yeah, and I think we should go through the history a little bit, and we should talk about how it kind of moves into free will, choice, collaboration, the ego, animal instincts, competition.
I think if you're at work right now and you're hating your job, or you're a manager,
Wait, they're not hating it; they're not aligning with it.
right? They're not aligning with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Or maybe they're a manager, upper management, and there's things that are happening that they're not in total agreement with,
Right.
and that may be ethically issues, morally an issue.
Or there's some sort of perceived control going on, and you feel like you have no power.
Yes, control, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of that will be discussed today, so I think they should tune in.
Yeah,
But they need to go to Apple Podcasts,
they need to
go to Spotify,
yeah,
go
Deezer.
to, you have a Samsung phone, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Go to Google, is it Google Play?
Google
or
Play
Google
Music. Google Play Music.
And subscribe.
Subscribe.
That's what we ask. That's all we ask.
Whatever. Just learn. And
Yeah.
then what you learn from us, go teach to other people.
Yes, exactly.
And hopefully you guys send us some messages so we can learn from you.
Exactly.
So you can teach us.
Yeah, I was calling Alex out. We were hiking this morning.
Yeah. Call me up big time. I don't even remember the word you said
I don't
was.
know what it was, but I
Yeah.
was like, hey, bro.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
good.
teaching you.
Yeah. That was nice, though. Oh, it's something about, it wasn't anonymity. It was,
Oh, no, it's about Turtle, your company, Turtle.co.
yeah, it was making
Sign
worth,
out. Everybody needs to sign up for that,
right. It's not private. It's
And
ambiguous.
He's like, well, everybody's worried about their privacy. And I was like, well, it has nothing to do with being private.
No, it has to do with being ambiguous.
And I was like, those are two separate different things.
Yes, correct.
You're a tech motherfucker.
That's a good, yeah, let me know. Mic drop.
Mr. Tech Company dude.
This guy doesn't know shit, you know?
Yeah, I just took it as an opportunity to just hammer you with the weakness. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Alex, you're a fraud. I'm
Yeah.
better than you.
Yeah,
What do you know? Where were you educated?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what degree do you... Oh, really?
Oh, that's
Wharton
interesting.
School of Business?
Oh,
okay.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You can hang out in our circle.
Yeah, exactly. Harvard? Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, University of New Mexico?
No, sorry, never heard of it.
What would be so we're classifying things right now.
Yeah.
University of Hawaii.
What about community college in New Mexico?
Yes, community college. Yeah,
Right.
C&M.
What's wrong with
That's
a
there, yeah.
associate's degree? Oh, you have an associate's degree? Where's your master's?
How many people that were hugely successful that didn't even have college degrees?
Like, if you look at all of them, zero. Zero.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. So our conversation today, we're gonna get serious. I'm
Yeah.
glad everybody's paying attention right now. We had fun.
I should have taken my spirulina.
Yeah, the raw living.
Yeah.
I have some getting delivered today.
Shout out to Raw Living Spirulina for their green gold. Best food on earth that you could ever possibly eat.
Yep, exactly.
Totally alive.
Yep. I have some getting delivered today. 2 jars.
Every phytonutrient, enzyme, anything you could ever possibly ask for in a perfect protein in a 1 pound jar, 1,000 pound of vegetables. Come on.
We're not even sponsored by them.
We're not even sponsored by them. The stuff is just the cat's pajamas.
We love it.
Yeah.
I take it for breakfast. I take it for lunch. I do intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Boom.
Don't you? Oh my God, buzz! You get a buzz from it.
Yeah, you get. Yeah, I do. I get like it's probably an oxygen buzz.
I'm thinking about it right now. I want like a 10-pound bag. And I just want to feast on it all day long.
Yeah, they need to give us like a barrel of it.
If we had a barrel,
we could bathe in it.
Oh my God, I do terrible things with that. You know.
Yeah. Now they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was the tarantula.
Yeah, it was the tarantula.
And we posted that on Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see. I had some people from Washington State because, they don't
good looking
have
fuzzy
tarantulas up there. They're like, oh my God.
Wait, what is something? What is that?
They're so mild, though.
Yeah, the thing's calm.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 dogs like sniffing like.
Yeah, and then us with cameras like on it.
Yeah.
It was like a paparazzi.
Yeah.
I think Britney Spears is a lot more aggressive than a tarantula.
Oh, I believe. Yeah, absolutely. Toxic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, that was one of. I'm sorry. Was that one of her songs? I digress.
Is there a toxic song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's.
It was
like,
a huge hit for her.
I Did It Again or something. Yeah.
Now it got stuck in my head.
Yeah, I've only done the. I've only watched the video.
Don't lie. Don't lie. We know. I know you got it on your Spotify playlist.
Yes. No, I have Miley Cyrus.
Oh.
Yeah. I almost played it for us today. I thought about that when we were hiking, just out of the blue, when it was real quiet to do.
Just drop some Miley Cyrus. She just opened up. Amanda told me, the girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
She's the girl. She's the only one.
Oh, okay, good.
Right.
So you're not polyamorous.
No, not polyamorous. What were we calling? What were we saying? Trisexual. We were saying that's a new kind of thing.
Like, yeah, that's like aliens and everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was saying that.
It's intergalactic.
How's your sexuality? It's not pansexual. It's intergalactic.
I'm not global.
Yeah.
I'm intergalactic.
I'm beyond that. I'm universal. You know.
Oh.
I'm like the remote for your TV.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. No, she was saying that.
Universal.
She was saying that Miley Cyrus opened up a new restaurant where you can go in there and smoke a joint and like drink your coffee and eat food at the same time.
Oh, that's cool. Here in the United States?
California.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
For all our California listeners out there.
The masses of them.
Yeah, the masses of them. We got, I think it's all the left coast, right? Is there any East Coast, like where you're from? Has anybody hopped on the cannabis wagon?
Massachusetts has.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So.
And everybody above them.
Grandma's blazing it.
Oh, everybody's blazing it up, dude. Everybody's blazing it up.
Yeah, I think it's. But I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, "There's a concern because, like, his friend said, I have to get up in the morning, smoke weed. I sneak at lunchtime, smoke weed, and then at night I smoke weed. So you need to be careful, even though there's this freedom of self-expression. You still can be addicted.
Are we bridging something right here?
We're going to go.
I think there was a little bit of a bridge because you talked about that freedom, right?
Yeah, and free will.
So he's trying to look for that escape from what he does day in and day out, what he feels captive to. So let's talk about society, right? In that, how the current system we have right now is exclusive.
So the current system, we've gone through, how many innovations have we gone through? We put people on the moon.
Well, yes.
We have gone through how many world wars?
2 world wars. Some would like to beg that there's a 3rd one going on now, but that depends on your perspective.
We have created the internet, or Al Gore did.
Yeah. Al Gore.
We have gone to social media. We've created television, all the aspects of that.
Radio.
And the system that we have,
the Model
we
T,
spend most of our time in our life, is broken.
Yeah. And how is it broken? Because it completely goes against every law of nature. That the materialistic attitude of everything is something that feeds the ego. It feeds the 54% of your life that you're living, but not the other 46% that remains hidden. Things that happen in your dreams, right? How does it feed that more conscious, altruistic, collaborative, communicative society, right? That being that you are, that connectedness through the laws of physics and nature that say you are connected to all these other people, why is it that we still operate in a society that is the exact opposite?
That decides to disconnect people based off of race,
Yeah.
based off of status,
Education,
education.
W-2s,
Yes.
right? So we're looking at these things.
Titles.
Titles are a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Go to England. You're called a lord, you know, or like beyond that, you're knighted. So what does that show in terms of your status, right? And again, that's what it is. It's status. Everybody's on an even playing ground. So the way we've designed society, and I think we should kind of knock back in history, right? So how did we get to this point of our exclusive society? And then we can run through kind of the issues with it.
Yeah,
but
I think if you could go back to exclusivity,
right,
and when that began to formulate.
right. So let's look at the Sumerian system of counting. We're going way back, 3,000 plus
These are
years.
the oldest records, right?
These are the oldest
American,
records. I'm talking about clay tablets, cuneiform tablets.
Right.
All right. What happens is there was only a select amount of people, scribes, in that time that had the ability to count, to use a language. People spoke, right, but they had no ability to read or write, so much as count or understand something. So when you look at things in terms of like your stock market, stock is the word of something that came from a plant, right? And they would
Right.
cut notches in these plants.
Right.
And if the notches in your plant matched the notches in the other plant that was held at this facility, they would show that you had that ownership. And that's where it began. It became with that system of measurement. And when you had measurement, you had ownership. So now we're starting to have a bridge here. Now we've started to lose the material world and we started to measure the physical. And that became the focus. Okay? So now we got these scribes. And these scribes are the ones that have all this knowledge, right? They understand how to read the books, they carry that power in the society, and they can deem to other people that they're the ones who know better. So in that perceived hierarchy, these are the people we should be listening to because they're the most well-educated. But the problem with that is they're the only people that had access to the education. They wouldn't give it to the masses of people.
No, and they're not going to either.
It wasn't in their
We
interest.
have to understand that's happening now.
It's happening now, but how we get there, right? So we had Sumeria. Sumeria started with the counting. We looked at stock. We look at measurement of the material world. Then we go to ancient Egypt, and we have all the priests. So we have all these libraries popping up, right, in the earlier dynasties of Egypt.
Right.
Okay, things are being recorded. You have hieroglyphs, and there are multiple different types of religion
We're
and
starting to get data.
data. Right? They're starting. That's exactly what they're doing. They're collecting data,
right.
and they're
And that
recording
became
it
powerful.
on stone.
And it's still powerful.
And only certain people were recording it,
Right.
right? And then in the later
That's
dynasties,
happening now.
you have things like it's happening right now. Nothing's changed,
Right.
right? In the later dynasties, you have things like the Library of Alexandria.
Right.
Who are the people that had access to the library? Priests.
They even had certain sections in the library that certain priests were only allowed to go into.
Yeah, only the super rich, right?
Mhm.
Only the highly political and most perceived powerful people.
Right.
Right.
Get that information.
It was only when you were educated enough could you then have access to things that educated you further.
Mm-hmm.
Not let's give access and education to all the people of Egypt.
So it was like an earned right.
It was an earned right.
Right.
It wasn't earned. So it wasn't just like a gifted thing, right? So when we come to this world, it's gifted to us. But people don't respect their bodies. Right?
I don't think we respect who we are as a being that's here that looks at infinity and eternity.
No, we don't.
We have that in our religions. I mean, whether you're Christian or whether you're Islamic, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Catholic, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They all have an afterlife.
All of
It's
them.
all a process of what's going to happen after this.
Even the Bible talks about it.
Yeah, and
And we have... I don't want to cut you off. I apologize.
go ahead.
You're looking at all this afterlife and all this data and all these people that are recording things for so long, right? And then we look at this and people are going to believe in all this stuff, but then they're going to believe in the material scientific world. It's like totally schizophrenic, you know?
Right.
Like you're saying that a woman birthed a child out of immaculate conception,
Right.
right? But we believe in science at the same time. But those two things refute one another. But
Of
we'll
course,
believe in
right.
both. So we're schizophrenic because we haven't taken the time to actually look at what is going on here to do the real study, right? And that's a function of education. It's a function of reasoning and logic and really diving down into asking why.
But we believe this system, whether it's religious, whether it's economic, whether it may be political, it doesn't matter. We just accept the norm, and
Yeah.
then we've built strongholds against those.
Right.
So we go from the Samaritans, we
Sumerians.
get into the Egyptians.
Into going to the Egyptians. And then now that we've moved from the Egyptians, right, we start going over to the Romans. So now that we have all this knowledge, the Library of Alexandria burns down, right? And the priests were the only ones holding this knowledge. No one else could have it. And the priests deemed what you were going to worship. They would tell people what they needed to believe in, what sort of dogmas were in place, right? Now let's go to Rome. Who are the people that have all the power? Unless you're a part of the Roman Senate, right? Unless you are a military leader, okay, you're a nobody. Unless you're super rich, you're running some sort of banking stronghold or anything like that, you're nobody. If there's no way to measure who you are, either by title, political status, or status of wealth.
And those dynamics were so ruthless, and they would turn on a dime.
Oh, all the time.
Mean, literally, you would have one thing you would know, next, your whole family's getting wiped out.
Yeah.
Like murdered.
Yeah.
Okay, now this person's in power.
Because that's the dynamic.
Like drug lords today.
But that's what it is, right? So the dynamic was, okay, this person has power, a perceived power.
Not that we have anything against drug lords.
No, right? Do what you're doing. Don't come for us.
We're just higher density.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you all you want, but man, don't take my head.
We don't want to wind up in like 55-gallon barrels with acid poured on us.
We don't. We don't.
I have no desire for that.
Not one bit. And then, so
this is funny.
Oh my God. Slowly dissolve me. Come on, just make it quick.
I think we need to do more hiking with the mountain lions.
Oh, we definitely do.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. The where the hell was I? Oh yeah, okay. So we're talking about the Romans. Yeah, I'm thinking about the barrel right now, not a spirulina, but dissolving. So we're looking at the Romans, right? And then they begin to trade. Trade explodes.
Right.
Their empire explodes.
Right.
So this was probably one of the first times, okay, that you had a reach of a materialistic system of measurement and ego and exclusivity that reached all over from what that time was.
Yeah, the Phoenicians with ships and
what was the globe,
right?
And then people start to see, from a materialistic standpoint, if I trade more, I can become rich, I can adopt these practices, I become...
So we begin to move up classes.
Yeah, classes, right?
Right.
And what the hell is a class? Who even came up with that term? I don't even know. I don't know the etymology of classes.
They used to only marry in certain classes. Like you had to go up.
Again, it was exclusive, right? So if you were born out of circumstance in a poor area and you're uneducated, there was not a chance in hell that you would ever be able to be a part of that society.
Yeah, and we need to be careful because when we look at Europe and we look at the United States, we're getting to that level.
Yeah.
And I don't want to digress into that, but so the Roman Empire comes on the scene. We're early Roman Empire. They begin to develop trade.
Yep.
They begin to develop monetary systems. They begin to develop classes. They begin to develop government.
Army control.
Yeah, army. And what is the army doing for them?
It's protecting what this materialistic society they set up.
Exactly.
That's all it is. They're all they're doing is protecting the wealth.
Right.
That is it.
Mm-hmm.
We own this area, and because we claim ownership to it, we own you. And then de facto for them is you're less than us. The hell is that all about? Because I'm what you perceive to be a barbarian, I'm less than you? I am thousands and thousands of years we have been here on this land, but you're going to de facto just take it.
It's amazing me, because you go to Australia.
Yeah.
And you see the Aborigines, they're like one of the original people, not just there, but like a very old ancient, and they knew the land. They knew every single animal. They would learn from them, Are we, here in the United States with Native Americans,
right?
We could have this opportunity to learn all this ancient wisdom. And what do?
We ignore it.
We just come in and...
We say that our system's better, right?
Rape, pillage, and take from the environment.
In fact,
never giving.
Frankly, you're infecting the area.
Yeah.
Because...
We did. We actually we brought disease.
So if your body...
Alcohol, poison.
Yeah. If your body's nature...
Hazy IPA is not poison.
That's not poison. That's delicious. But if your body's nature, right, it's like a virus coming in and then there's got to be more white blood cells. We're not coinciding with the natural flow of how your body, what the health of the area is, right? It's like we just invade until we take it over and kill it, right? And that seems to be a common model.
Well, I think it's an empirical model, and I also think, when we looked at I mean, look how many, like, you go to India or you go to South America, there's plantations there.
Right.
Where did that come from? That colonial, like, why are
Thank you, British Empire.
Yes. It's so funny because I felt this personally, and I want to share a quick story, and we'll get into this. It was interesting. You go to the Philippines, and very poor country, and you had a lot of religions coming there in a certain time because of the mass amount of people. And it was so interesting with the denomination where I was a pastor at, and we've talked about that before.
Right.
How they would come and impose this view. So literally, here's how it played out. So what's the temperature in the Philippines?
I don't know. Hot.
95.
Yeah, hot and humid.
And 150 degrees of humidity.
Oh my God.
And because we wore suits with ties and white shirts, we asked them, we would build buildings that looked like churches, when really they were telling us we need open air. We like the open air ones with no walls, just like a roof in case it starts raining.
It's not how we do it.
And then we need airflow, but that's not how we do it. We want, big buildings, stained glass, closed, big wood doors.
Structured like a cross.
Yes, and then we want you to get dressed up. So literally there would be people that would be at a pulpit, sitting there, a choir sitting in the background, and they're perspiring, passing out, trying to impose this form of religion to get to heaven. That was something that we felt like we needed to do to get to that. And then we would impose it upon that whole culture without even going in and saying,
what do you guys...
whether religion we think is wrong or right, we should look at the culture first.
What do you guys want?
It's like we go into the Northwest, where I'm from, in Seattle, there's 26 Indian tribes. We start, especially Catholicism, they start rolling in there and cutting all these totem poles down.
Not cool.
They feel like they're gods. They look at them and think they're gods. Little do they know, it's all family history. That's all a totem pole was. When they would have a significant event that happened in the family, they would record that and put it on a totem pole. So this artwork, I mean, we've all seen totem poles and how beautiful they are.
No, they're badass.
Yeah, and what they are. And
I'm gonna start recording stuff on it then.
Start building a totem pole.
I'm gonna be the totem master.
And so you had all these different tribes with all this different type of art and this creative, and you could see even the extent. I was over in Russia, and you had these jars, and you had St. Petersburg. Amazing art, and that's about where it's only at. But you go to Moscow, it's gray, it's dreary, it's all industrial,
post-communist.
Yes, because they literally took everything down that showed any. And I was talking to you about that, and I don't want to digress and get into this, but anything that imposes on your free will, if you're an artist and you're out there, and you have a passion and a desire, and you're painting something, and people are telling you this isn't normal, or this isn't right, or you're making music, any type of art, we encourage you.
I encourage.
Yes.
Anything that follows your free will or even extends or accentuates it. Right? Because that truly is the closest you can get to who you are, because you're respecting every single part about yourself, and you're expressing it in a fashion that absolutely matches every cell in your body.
And that's why I liked when you go to Rome and you look at these artists in these cathedral stuff, they were literally like, they were painting shit that was like, fuck off, religion.
Yeah, no, they really were.
The Denver airport.
Oh.
With the gas mask and all that. They're like, fuck off, New World Order.
No, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's
why I love art.
It's cool. It's fantastic expression, and for a brief moment, we can all feel that same emotion.
That's what it does. It creates an emotion.
All of us feel different things every second of the day, and we think we're disconnected from one another, right?
Yeah, there's a painting when I went to Moscow. There's a painting in the museum there, and they have amazing. And it's, and I need to get the name of it. I should look this up a little bit more. I'll put it in the show notes. But it has, there was war, and then there's crows sitting on top of hundreds of skulls, like bleached skulls. And it's just interesting because it's like, this is what, at the end, this is what it is.
That is
black crows hanging out in a field,
feeding on dead corpses.
Look at how many higher conscious beings were for what?
For nothing.
And this is where we get into.
For a system of exclusivity and materialistic power, and to say that we own you. It's a system of measurement, right? Measurement's false. The basic mathematics and physics of fractals, right?
Right.
Say that measurement is just some weird concept or idea that we came up with, but every distance is infinite within itself. You keep dividing it down. We just said a ruler's 12 inches.
Right.
You know? What the hell is 12 inches?
Right.
So, let's move us back. That goes to our feudal system. So let's move from ancient Rome, and now let's go to the feudal system of Europe. You got kings, knights, queens, lords. What do you call them?
Jokers. Probably I would have been one of those.
You probably would have been one of those, right? But again, now it's a system of, I'm the king, you work for the king, I tax you, I take what you do, here's the labor, you have no choice. Because you're on this land, I control and own everything you want to do.
And I'm going to tax you.
I'm going to tax the hell out of you. For what? Because I live here? Because I was born here?
And I'm going to ask you, when I summon you, I'm going to ask you to die for this.
Yeah. And now you got to fight for me? For what? So you can go acquire more shit?
Here's a flag.
Yeah. Here's a flag. Go blow some...
Of my family.
Go blow some trumpets. By the way, I'm not going to pay for your sword. Go get a pitchfork.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so now we've taken a system of measurement and acquirement, right, in greed and selfishness back in Samaria, and in ancient Babylon, and we've moved it to Egypt, and now only certain educated people are the ones that control this measurement and determine 12 inches is 12 inches. And then we go to Rome, and that philosophy and idea has expanded itself.
Make a joke on the 12 inches.
Okay. That philosophy has expanded itself globally,
right,
through trade,
right,
okay, and the materialistic thing, and ownership. And now we move to the feudal system, and now beyond that we have people forcing people to go out and fight without any choice or free will to go acquire more things for only a select few. So you, as a person that is excluded from the inside group, has to go fight and attain more resources for that exclusive group so they can maintain their exclusivity.
Well, you can look at our Civil War.
Yeah.
Here in the United States.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Not that long ago.
Frankly, not that long if you look at history.
And we had brothers and sisters fighting against each other.
Literally. They went to the same school and they're like, I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in that. Guess what? I'm on this side, you're on that one.
And it's funny because, and I'm going to be controversial here, but a lot of people think of the Civil War as it being slavery. But it was so much more than that.
It was beyond that.
Yeah, you had federal government.
How do you design a nation?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
and
what it was about.
Should it be a combined federal single entity? Should they remain sovereign single states, single colonies, right? Do we put these things together? You know, or do we break it up? Does the dollar have power here? Who owns the currency? It was beyond the slavery. Slavery was just one part of it.
But the percentage of death that happened with the amount of population that was in the Civil War was horrific.
But why did the death happen? The death happened because we couldn't find understanding in one another, because the materialistic system, the old feudal imperialistic systems that came all the way back from measurement, accounting, and ego, right? All these things we continue to fight for what we would say we believe in. But in all truth, you're fighting yourself, because what you're looking at on the other side of the field is nothing but a reflection of you. Did you not realize that? You're both fighting for the same cause, and that's to say that I understand the world in one way, and so do you, but I don't believe in the way you view in it. So that disbelief, that not understanding in the other person's opinion or viewpoint, does that mean you should kill them? Is that worth slaughtering someone over? Probably not.
You know, I like it, and it's interesting to me to see the dynamic of what has happened, and we'll bring it to this because I think this is so important. You know, everybody bashes on Trump. You know, and I'm not supportive either. I didn't vote for either one.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I'm indifferent. But I thought it was interesting. I really enjoyed the dialogue and what was going on with North Korea, because you have two egotistical people.
Yeah.
That have two separate ideologies.
Right.
That were deciding to meet and talk.
Drastically separate.
And drastically separate. And deciding to sit down, not with violence, but to sit down and have a conversation together.
Just a conversation. Not even asking for anything wild. Just have a conversation. You have a fascist dictatorship, and I don't want to have to go through the history, but to show how the ideology of the United States is built on fascism also.
Right.
Coming from ancient Rome. If you look at the House and the Senate, there's behind the
Oh yeah.
the Speaker of the House.
Eagle, I mean, the list
Yeah,
goes on.
the Speaker of the House has these two bundles of sticks next to him on both sides.
Right.
That's called a fasci. Okay? And that fasci is a coalition. It is a bundle, and it has the axe head, which is representative of God. That is power.
Right.
So when you get a group of people, a select group, if you get it just to the right size, that coalition, that group can have enough power to control whatever it wants.
Right, and we see that now.
We see it all over the place, right? And we're like, it's a free society.
But the problem that we have facing in the United States is we introduced this whole thing called lobbyism,
Right.
and now we have corporations, not just people that we the people have come and said, we want to have you represent us.
Right.
Now we have a popular vote, but then we turn around and we have these lobbyists coming in there from all these different identities.
Yeah.
That's what corporations are. They're like a human. We talked about that our last podcast.
And they have their own incentives and agendas.
And they're coming in. I personally can't give you $2 million to like the things that I have.
Right.
But a corporation can come in and say, here's where we're at. And so now we have this situation here in the United States where we have corporate greed and we have corporate bias.
Well, we got to get there, though. So we're in the Civil War.
Civil War. So
No, you're right.
We're at,
Yeah, so we're in the Civil War, right? And then the Civil War, we have really the United States is starting to take off, okay? And what was the group of colonies that brought together and what was geographically the United States of America?
And we forgot why we came over here in the first place.
To leave those systems that weren't working.
Right.
And then what happened? Money, control, and central banking found its way back over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that system of measurement, that system of class, that European system of class came back and reinvaded the same area.
Yes, it just became under a different label and looked cooler because we put a flag to it that was here.
Right.
And we decided to say, it's like a rebranding.
Right, it's like a rebranding. So,
It's like Frito-Lay's knows we love the chili cheese corn chips,
yeah,
but we know they're not good for us.
we got to rebrand
So,
this.
yeah, if we're a stoner late at night at 2 o'clock in the morning, the chili cheese, bomb.
Yeah, real bomb.
So now how are we going to make chili cheese plant-based?
Exactly.
And then can we make the color instead of orange and red?
Can we get something more natural?
Green and white.
Yeah, something else.
Then a little organic label on there.
Everyone's buying it.
Yeah. Now we got straws.
Yeah, and so what do we have happen here? So it goes from the United States of America, where every single person, before the trade even comes in the European aristocracy and all that other bullshit, you have the United States of America, and everybody is his own sovereign person. Your land, your house, that is your castle, right? That's when everybody carried a gun and they protected themselves. You were the person that determined on your own free will how you were going to live.
Right.
That was the original design. And later in the early 1900s, you have the United States
Did
Corporation.
you have a Heckler Koch?
Right? Yeah.
An HK?
Do you have an HK? Muskets.
Everybody just cut us off right there.
Yeah. No, but it went from the United States of America, where everybody was a sovereign being, right?
Right.
You were your own sovereign person. You were your own
That's
king.
what the Constitution states.
That's what it states. But then the United States transfers over to the United States Corporation. Look at the documentation. I want everyone to check it out. This is not some fucking like conspiracy theory. This is a fact, okay? And at that point when that happened, you became a working entity for the corporation. This was no longer you were a sovereign being. Those rights were now stripped. So now you're sitting in a system where you truly don't have any rights. Who are you relying on for your safety? Police.
Yeah, don't pay your taxes, see what happens.
Police, military, don't pay your taxes. We put you in jail, right? So what happens? Your free will is now stripped of you. Now, on top of that, we're going to strip that free will. We're going to bring in the same old systems we have over in Europe and titles and all that other crap, and we're going to dump it on the U.S. And now what do we have? We have a system that is completely exclusive, all right? Only benefits the few, all right? Education is limited to a select amount of people. And, by the way, you really don't have any rights like you used to have. You're not a sovereign entity anymore. You work for the corporation of the United States of America. Why do you think there's life insurance? Why do you think there's Social Security? They have to keep you alive because you're an asset to the corporation.
Our insurance for your mortgage.
Dude, you're an asset to the corporation. Why is it that you have a birth certificate?
Or a marriage certificate.
Well, let me tell you why. When a ship comes into port, it has to birth its material, its cargo. It has to birth it. It comes off the mother ship. Okay? And those things have to be documented. So when you come out of a womb, out of a entity that works for the United States corporation, you have to have a certificate because you are a new asset to that corporation. Okay? And then you got to put insurance on it.
Minds today. I love this.
And then we got to put insurance on this because we got to keep this person alive.
Right.
We got to do it as long as possible because they have to work for us. They'll pay taxes into this system, and we can charge them to feed our corporation, which is the United States corporation. And people need to start calling it that, right? And then you have a death certificate. Why? Because when you lose an asset at sea, right? Say your cargo falls off. I worked in insurance for a bit. Somebody has to go claim it. Somebody has to go figure out and prove that that asset is actually gone, non-redeemable, that they'll pay out on it. So that's why you have to have a death certificate.
But what happened in 1776 when these founding forefathers got together and they began to write this document?
They wrote a beautiful document, a phenomenal document that actually matched the true sovereignty and growth and horizontal, non-hierarchical structure of a world.
And they gave warnings on it.
And they gave warnings, and they specifically said it. But what happens is...
Don't bring this banking system from Europe over.
But what happened, though? All this stuff came in, and people, again, gravitated to that materialistic, feed the lower ego, I need more because it puts me against the other. There was no camaraderie. There was no brotherhood. Why do you think they signed half that shit in Philadelphia? It's a city of brotherly love. You know what I mean? There was having that idea that we are all equal.
Right.
Is what was important, and they saw that.
And people don't realize, but phileo in the Greek is, there's different types of love in the Greek, but the word phileo, like Philadelphia, they purposely named it for that.
Yeah, there's everything's there. If you look at, everyone, etymology. There are dictionaries online for etymology, okay? It teaches you the history of words. It will blow your mind where half of these things come from.
Yeah, and read the Constitution.
Yeah, read it.
Go through when you don't understand a word. That's what I had to do.
Look it up.
Look it up.
It's as simple as that.
It's that simple. And you will be amazed. It's like there was a bunch of higher conscious beings sitting in a room together.
Right.
That said, that were passionate. Many of them gave up their wealth. They gave up their status.
Hell yeah. They risked it all.
They risked it all, yeah.
Frankly, that's what they did. And they said that it's more important to understand that we are all interconnected. We all come from the same place, right? All same place of love and understanding.
Right.
There's unity between all of us. That is more important than all of these other things that we are currently living with that have caused all these problems. We have left to create this world, and that was just absolutely wrecking us, right? Taking away all of our free will, preventing us from actually evolving at a rate that matches who we truly are and where we could be. And we gave that all away, and now we're going to actually write a document that gives you all of those things back.
And then we're looking at it, and we want to change it. I mean, you look at like the Bill of Rights. That was made for you as a person.
Yeah.
For your free will.
It's crazy. And you know why? Do you know why?
You want to interpret this and spin it around.
You know why you need the Bill of Rights? Because it became the United States corporation. If you're a sovereign entity, you can do whatever the hell you want. You have the free will, the choice, to follow any path you damn well please. But when the United States corporation comes in place and says you can only do certain things because you now work for us, that's when you need a Bill of Rights. That's when it has to be in place because the system in place needs to be changed. It's like all the board members of a large corporation coming together to vote on something because they have to change the rules of the area. There's no law in the United States that politicians write. It's policy. Nobody defines law in the United States. There is no law. It's called policy. I want to explain
that because whether you're a corporation and you have the shareholders getting together and voting on something, whether you have upper management voting on something, or whether you have the Senate or the House voting on something, the president deciding to do which they're doing more and more of, these, what do they call them, where they just consign stuff into law?
Oh, hell if I know.
Yeah, it's like executive, but they have... You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, got it.
At the end of the day, when you look at that, you have to say what
executive
is the
actions.
Reasoning behind
Executive
it.
actions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is the reasoning behind that? Is it short term? Is it profit driven?
All it is. Because it's sharing that same system.
Or am I looking at it and saying, is this helping the betterment of society? Is it helping universally? Is it going to help people in India as much as it's going to help people in China and Africa and the United States?
No.
Or is it going to help a small selective group of people that we would call shareholders.
An exclusive group.
Yes.
Because why? Because they own it. They feel like they are entitled to it, right?
And others are less than.
They're less than. And so, okay, now we're in the late Industrial Revolution, okay? You have the Model T showing up. And
But we have to realize we had the Great Depression.
we had the Great Depression, yeah.
We had the Dust Bowl. We had people literally without work, starving to death.
Mm-hmm.
People dying because of famine.
Right.
And so now we come on the scene. We have the Rockefellers, the Henry Fords,
Mhm.
the
J.P.
Andrew
Morgan's,
Carnegies.
Andrew Carnegie's.
Yes.
The exclusive group of power. And now this exclusive group is also going to determine what's going to happen with the Board of Education in the United States because they all sit on it.
Mhm.
Okay? So now we're all on this board and we have to wonder, we need labor for this system that we brought to the United States of America. How is it that we don't educate people too much, right? But just enough? How do we give them just enough of an education so that they continue to make these widgets for us inside of a factory? How do we keep them as not a sovereign person that is educated, right? But just a working entity that pays into the system?
Because that's what they view a Social Security number.
Yeah. It's all slapping you in the face. You just got to pay attention to how much of your free will is taken away from you, right? And understand that you're only feeding into a system and you're living in this system that gives all your perceived power and free will to all these other people to take it away from you.
So now we have the system.
Right.
We have it in place. We're at the point now where we have, like Rome realized, we build coliseums
Yeah.
or stadiums. We entertain the people,
It-
the lesser than,
It
and we
dis-
give them this tons of entertainment, and they're distracted with that entertainment.
Why would you focus on education
Our law.
or law or understanding that you're getting screwed?
Right.
You want to distract them from those areas, right? So if they, with their materialistic, egotistical ways, impose a system that says, okay, of measurement, right? And let's talk about school. If we're going to educate these people, how are we going to do it? Well, we have to put in a grading system to say that this person is better than the next, okay? Now, if you're born rich, you don't have to be at the top of the class. You can just pay your way into whatever school you want. You shitting me? If you pay into an endowment, Harvard will take you in a hot second.
Mm-hmm. They just got busted for that.
They just got
There
busted
were
for
people that were giving money.
it. This has happened forever. And so what happens? You might have people that were born poor or disadvantaged, but their level of intelligence and aptitude is fantastic on this scale of measurement, right? Assuming this is learn something, recall that info, and then express it again back to me. And then we'll measure you on how well you did that.
But people don't realize Harvard and Yale and a lot of these were, Byron, come in here.
We got Byron. Yeah. This is the man, the myth, the legend here
The
on
man, the myth, the
99.9.
legend.
What we got?
From 99.9 The Beat FM. So we're talking about how screwed up our government is,
Oh,
how messed up, how they're not for the people,
Right.
how the educational system is
Completely
for a
exclusive.
certain elite people,
Yeah.
and how only those people can become in power.
Yeah. And what we're saying is that, so for school, right, if you've grown up in a disadvantaged area,
right.
okay, that when you are, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are of an engineer, Byron, because of where you came socially in your life, you're not going to have the advantage to get into these higher forms of education. You don't have access to that knowledge base that some people were graced into with how they were born or the history of their families. Because when you educate a man, you liberate a man.
Right.
So what we were talking about is that if you keep the masses only educated to a certain extent, and you keep the educational system exclusive to some of the best colleges and universities, it doesn't give people the opportunity to bring themselves up as a whole, right? Because a rising tide lifts all ships.
Well, you know, a big part of that is it all comes back to money.
This is exactly what we were talking about.
It comes back to money.
It's that money, right? Who pays the
You
most?
can't afford to do it. So part of what I see happening now, whether it happens or not, is there, like our governor here is trying to say we want to make our secondary college free. Now, at that point, I don't know if it's skewing the show, but at that point,
No, it's
then
perfect.
it becomes a
Equal playing field.
it becomes equal, but it becomes it becomes a choice. So
That
do you
is
wanna-
the money right there,
will.
Byron. That is the free will we were talking about. Now you have the choice. We've given you access to that education. Are you going to take it?
right.
What was once exclusive now becomes inclusive. And this is what we want to do with society, right? We want to become an inclusive society to understand that, Byron, I don't give a shit that you're black. There's no difference between you and me. You are far brighter than me in many other things that I could ever touch, right? But what? Did that define because I grew up on the East Coast, or
We called them
you
twice just to get the mics to work.
just to get the mics to work, right? No, but
we were FaceTiming.
but in all seriousness, Byron, should I have any advantage over you in society because I'm 6'5" and white with blue eyes?
That's a tough one.
No, but I shouldn't though. The
Well,
point is,
I mean, I would say no, you shouldn't, but you do.
no, but I do.
So what was
cases.
happening? Like, let's use music.
Yeah,
So in the 1940s and 50s, when African Americans were coming on the scene with music,
right.
this is a perfect example. How much were they getting paid compared to the record companies?
Fucking zilch, dude.
No, we weren't making no money.
Yeah,
Now, granted, that's today. That's a whole nother ball game.
Right, Nicki Minaj, twerking, she gets, but still, if she maybe get 5 mil, but I guarantee you there's somebody else out there getting 20 mil.
yeah. But it remains exclusive, right?
Right.
They don't want to bring everybody up to what they perceive as their level, right? Their power structure. They don't want anyone to get in there. So if we keep the masses and these widgets and these people working in this system, we're only going to perpetuate something to say that we really don't have any free will and no choice. And then we in our souls and our human spirit become frustrated. We feel like we run into walls all day long, right? Because it's like, where did my sovereignty go? But little do you know that the materialistic ideology that you went into, that 56% of your life that all you focus on, is now being stripped away from you. So when you've lost that 56% and you've ignored the other 46, the things that you can't see, the human spirit, your consciousness, what do you have left? Nothing. Because you felt like you just lost half of the things that made up everything that you determined your life on.
And think of like the Temptations. I mean, getting paid like $50.
Yeah.
How much are they making every time you play one of their songs? Who's making all that money?
That money goes to like BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. They dole it out to the artists.
So again, somebody else goes and determines where that resource goes. They control it, right?
Right.
Rather than look at the person for what they are, respect it, understand it, and give them what they are worth. And that is
Always going to be a middleman.
they always you want to know why? Because that's the system. It's a system of middleman. And we talked about what that all started from, the system of measurement, greed. It's the ego, that someone has to sit in the middle and control the flow of things. And that's fighting nature. Nature flows, right?
Right.
Is there any middleman inside your body? No, you're the person that determines that choice. So why would you walk around and live in a system and do things that go against everything that determines how your body works? You think that's best for you?
No, but here's the question. How do you change it?
How do you change it, right?
How do you change it?
And that's what we want to get to. How do we take the moment to stop, reflect on ourselves, and truly understand that, wait a minute, what I'm doing right now does not align with who I am. What I'm doing says that somebody else is the other, rather than somebody else is myself, but another reflective part of it, right? How do we say that I am all on that same playing field?
And that we're all equal.
And that we're all equal?
Now, individually, we can have the thoughts of what it takes to make ourselves, but I think it's going to be the masses.
That's
at some
exactly
point
right.
That have to make, will affect the change.
How do we get to that point consciously to realize that all of us have to come together to understand that we are the ones that determine our outcome, not a select few exclusive group determining where we want to go? How does the group of us, the people that feed this system, that allow them to have that perceived power, when is it that us as a group, a collective, a unified group of people coming from the same place, sharing the same resources, are the ones that will determine our future? And that's going to take us to do some self-reflection.
But I mean, I want to get controversial here. Like, Byron, the African American community, how on Democrats and Republicans, how have they played on that community to turn around? I mean, look at what's happened since the 1950s to now.
Right.
Hip hop's number one.
Right.
R&B hip hop's number one. It just took over rock.
Mm-hmm.
You have sports dominated by-
Again, because we're distracting. Remember we talked about keeping the masses distracted?
Right.
It's the best thing we can do. Don't educate yourself, follow sports.
Yeah, but look, what do you have in that whole system? Who owns the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
And then who's working for?
Right. We're still in the
Well,
same
who's
place.
creating most of the money? The players are.
Right.
Right. And then all the advertisements go towards it, right? And then all the kids go to school thinking they're going to be in the NFL.
Right.
I'm sorry, you're not. The odds are against you. You know what I mean? So then the whole system is out of the gate skewed to make you think that you have this possibility of becoming something other or greater, when really you have everything you ever needed to be right inside of you. But it's a matter of us all coming together on that same consensus to understand that we have that power.
And Jesus talked about that. He said you can gain the whole world but lose your own soul.
Right. Yeah. And so the question is, Byron, do you want to continue to focus on all the material things in your life that are determining the ebb and flow of all the choices you have to make? Or are you going to focus on the spiritual center of who you are, your connectedness to everything in this universe? And that is a natural law of physics, that you have that connection, and understand that that's the thing you should be following. You should be flowing with nature rather than fighting it.
Well, I flow here in this studio because I don't follow nobody's rules.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you do your own, and look at this. Look how successful you have been, because you made a choice to follow your own passion. So you asked, well, how's society going to get there? It's everybody coming together, understanding that connectedness, and following those passions we all have.
Regardless.
Don't think about the consequences and all the possible bad things that could happen. The system already sucks for you, right? The system was never designed for you. It's designed for a select few.
You know, it's funny. We were, so I'm just coming in from Las Cruces, and I always talk about every time we go to the airport, I'm the one that has to go through the puffer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if you're Muslim now, and you have to go to the airport?
Oh, whether they tell you or not, whether you're good, bad, or ugly, you're going to get snatched up either way. It's just
there's
happen.
profiling. Why is there profiling?
It's profiling because we're measuring. We're saying that person is, because of our perceived idea, they are of a lesser quality. That's what they're saying. We need to put this person in a box because they're dangerous. They're less than us. They're not as good. You know what I mean? Pull them aside. They're a hazard.
Or try to find a way where there's a system that we can control them.
Right.
And we allow them to express themselves.
But we're gonna control you on your expression, right? And this is the problem.
So when you look at, because I want to get back to this because Byron's here, then we got to close because we're over an hour. But whenever you look at artists that were coming on the scene, especially in with the African American community, well, how did they try to control them? They were making them wear suits. They told them they couldn't move their hips. I mean, they were trying to control Elvis Presley.
Again, force people into a system that doesn't match with who they truly are.
What would happen with the music if it was able to freely express itself?
It in some cases, I'm going to say that it's they've been able to do that by saying, this is my label. I will not go work for a label.
Right.
I create my own label. So my royalties are mine. This money, this X amount of money is mine. This, when I do a concert, this is mine and not yours. But even still, I think till the end of time, there's always going to be a handful of people. Look at New Mexico, 46% Hispanic. Okay, way more Hispanics than white people. But guess who runs this state? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just an indication of how the United States is being operated.
Right.
It's in a state level.
It's just on a state level.
But we've been trained in our minds for the last, several hundred years to not be that person. It's you look at slavery. You got one man, he's got 4 or 5 guys, but you got 50 slaves. Now, you would think that all 50 slaves, if we all rose up and killed this dude, we'd split.
How many opportunities would there have been for a slave, way better shape physically, than the owner? How many opportunities would there have been for them to kill that slave owner?
It's fear.
What caused them not to kill the slave owner?
Fear every single time. Yeah.
We fear of being
into the
hung.
system.
That's why only maybe 1 or 2 would run, and one of them got caught. One of them maybe got away, but they made that example of putting his behind on a tree.
I mean, we've all seen. I mean, it's kind of funny, and I like how he does the movie Django.
Yeah.
Because it brings. I love Quentin Tarantino because he brought it into. Sicking dogs on people.
But dude, this hasn't changed.
And then going to church on Sunday.
No, but it hasn't changed
Think
though.
about that.
Yeah. Dude, if you don't pay your taxes,
guess what happens?
they hang you. If you don't pay your premium on your debt, they hang you.
Yeah.
Okay. But nothing's changed.
Why do they want you to have debt?
Why? Because when you have debt, Somebody else owns that asset other than you. You think you own the house.
Loans now with the millennials.
You never owned that education. And by the way, that education was exclusive. What did it really do? Nothing, right?
Right.
So they got you. You paid into a system of exclusivity, and now they own you for the next 30 to 40 years on something that you're never going to benefit from.
And the same as a mortgage.
Why? And guess what? And who's the real person that won? It's the person that didn't fucking go to school.
System.
The banking system won, but the people that didn't go to school. It's people that paid $3.50 on a library card. They're the one who won. You want to know why? Because they had the choice on what they wanted to learn. They followed their spirit. They followed their passions. They created a radio station. They understood what worked for them.
I mean, Byron worked 3 jobs. He works 3 jobs to
Yeah.
have this radio station going.
And he makes it happen. This is all a possibility because of that, because someone followed their passions, right? And then you and I and Byron get to sit here and share our ideas, right? And understand and tell people about that system. We get to educate them on it. But the point is, our system is exclusive. And by making it inclusive is the understanding that the sun created all material in this solar system. You are using that material. You are all borrowing those resources that came from the same damn spot. So I don't care if you're black, white, Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, fucking Christian, I don't care what it is. You all come from the same shared thing, the same source. So at the absolute core of it, there is no defining difference between any of us but the damn perspective we perceive this world to be as. Okay?
That's good. I think we're done.
Man, I'm in here with the dictionary. You scared me a little bit. Some of the words, you looking at me like, oh, I know there's not a question attached to that.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, I loved it. Thank you. It was perfect timing, Byron.
Yeah, thank you for coming in, Byron.
Hey, well, I'm glad to be here because I got to go to the bathroom now. I've been driving for 3 hours.
Well, you go let the have, and we'll close this up.
All right, have fun, guys.
There you go.
Thank you.